What's up, fam? Welcome back to episode 2 of Extol We. If you're just joining with us in this adventure of Extol We, connected to extraordinary life with Elijah, it's been this process of time of where I've recorded 7 years of content in a 3.5 year period. Beginning on Friday, February 14th, 2020, God called me to record a video that was then to be played on my parents' 49th wedding anniversary on Thursday, August 17th, 2023. And during that 3.5 year time period, I was recording videos that were posting live every week for that full 3.5 year video time period, along with another video that was in private that then began to be posted merging forward after August 17th, 2023, such that there is another 3.5 years of content that's just sitting on my channel waiting to be posted live on Extraordinary Life with Elijah, which I will post here. The first video that posted after that final video that I played for my parents on their 49th wedding anniversary on Thursday, August 17th, 2023, was then posted on Sunday, August 20th, 2023 from Redding, California. As I was setting up all my gear in the crawl space under my office where I practice real estate, I was setting up lights and my cameras and microphones and all of that. God was talking about what we were gonna record in that moment, what we were gonna record then right after the first video, and then he started talking to me about what I was gonna be doing 3.5 years in the future after I played that video for my parents at their wedding celebration, 49th wedding anniversary. He showed that right after we got done playing the video, that I was to leave my brother's house. I wasn't to stay and connect with them and talk about everything and all the experiences that everyone had had with the video, that I was to leave immediately following, which was so hard for my heart. But he pointed to the fact that right after that then my wife and I, Charla, that we were gonna get on a plane and we were gonna go to Redding, California to visit Bethel Church for the very first time. During that time in 2020, my heart was so conflicted. It was in so much pain at that time. I, in the past, have had very difficult times in full-time vocational ministry. And as a result of a lot of those hurts, was in a place in 2020 where my heart was very confused. It was in a lot of pain. There was a lot of bitterness, unforgiveness, anger, frustration, all mixed up in my heart. And I truly at that time wanted to go and visit Bethel Church, but God pumped the brakes and said, no, you are not to go to Bethel, to Redding, California, to visit Bethel until after this entire period, and you're to go there starting on August 18th through August 21st. I said, man, Father, that's super frustrating. I want to go right now, because at that point in time, my heart was in so much pain that I believed that it was the last place where I could go on the entire face of the earth and be amongst people who got it. It was very much so like my namesake in the Bible, where he went to a cave and Elijah hides out in this cave and God comes and says, Elijah, what are you doing here? And Elijah just sounds off with God and says, I'm the last one to bow the knee to Baal. He's in so much pain. He was so confused and isolated. He was just blind, ignorant, and arrogant. Yeah, I know, I'm talking about myself. But God said, no, you're not going to visit Bethel in Redding, California until after this entire 3.5 year period. You're to take off right after you play this video in your brother's house, fly there on August 18th. That's your time. And I said, all right, Father, not sure what you got for me, but I'll obey you. So the video then that I posted on Sunday, August 20th, sat there for all of that time that said to be released on Sunday, August 20th at 6:25 a.m., I believe, PST, no, 5:25 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which was sunrise back in Bozeman, Montana. Sat there that entire time prophesying. That's where I would be at the time that that video released. Charlotte and I bought tickets. Our very good friends Ryan and April watched our 4 little kiddos for us. And it was the first time that Charlotte and I had gone on a trip together as a married couple without kids for 8 years. 8 new beginnings. It's kind of, I don't know, prophetic. It's taken off for Redding, California, our 4 kiddos, staying with April and Ryan. And we fly out to Redding. We get there, a gentleman picks us up with our Turo Rento named Jeremiah. And as soon as we get in the car, Jeremiah begins to just give us a download on why we were there in Redding. He asked us why we had come. We told him that we were there with assignments from God, had things to release to the Bethel family, and said, well, it's incredibly poignant that you would show up on August 18th. Let me tell you some beautiful things about this. This is the first day of Elul. It's also the celebration of when Jesus was baptized. It was the 3rd time that Moses ascended the hill of the Lord. Likewise, in Jewish culture, that this is the time of the year where it's easy to go out into the harvest field to meet with the king. So that you would arrive on August 18th is very timely. Which I'm having just an amazing time. It's hilarious. I'm like, well, of course, God, not only do you bring us to the right space, the right time, with the right people, you have this beautiful man pick us up from the airport to prophesy over us as we're coming into the city. We go and have dinner at In-N-Out Burger for the very first time in our lives for Charlotte and I, my wife. And after we're done, then we go to the house where we're gonna be staying. Some friends of ours, George and Valerie, had reached out to a friend of theirs, Tyler, in Redding, California, and found a place for us to stay with a couple named Mark and Katie. A hilarious backstory. George and Valerie did not even know Katie and Mark at all. It was third party. Tyler hooked them up, gave George and Valerie the number, then gave us the number, and we got in contact with Mark and Katie. And so we didn't even know these people going into staying at their house. But Mark and Katie, you're such beautiful, adventurous people, and God, I bless you in Jesus' name. We show up at their house, and Mark says, come on into the living room, let's sit down and let's get to know each other a little bit. As he and I start talking together, and Charlotte and Katie, again, connecting more, looking at pretties and touring the house while Mark and I had intense conversations in the Lord. So awesome. We began to have ministry to one another. And a lot of the things that God has placed on my life were able to minister to Mark's heart, where I started sending things across the gap and he's like, whoa, that's the first time that those prophetic revelations have come to me from another person. And I'm like, yeah, this is the first time that I've sent those prophetic revelations out and had another person receive them with joy. We just take off. We're just in this place where we have language in the spirit, where we can trade spiritual truths and spiritual maturity back and forth, and got to some places in the Lord that he and I had not gone before. So incredibly beautiful. And as a part of that we talked about the central role of the Holy Spirit to lead us forward in the truths that God had revealed to us as a family of God, merging forward in a family culture of faith in the kingdom. Now, as a part of that, then I went to bed on the evening of August 18th, 2023. I have a wild dream in the night. So beautiful. I had a word that was inside of me that I was trying to get out. My friend George, who was part of George and Valerie that connected with Tyler, that got us to Mark and Katie. George was in my dream together with my brother Zachary. And we're having this incredible time, this conversation, trying to get this word that was inside of me that was just, it hurt so bad, but I couldn't get it out. That all of a sudden the time came for the word to come out of my mouth. I leaned forward and popped awake from my dream in the night, having a physical encounter in the night in my bed where my hands were up against my face, my whole body was pressed together, and my whole body was contracting from head to toe at exactly 11:07 p.m. Friends, again, if you haven't been with me in this entire process, November 7th, 2017 at 10:30 p.m. was incredibly pivotal in my life with God. That God called me to then begin to go under my house in my crawl space and to begin spending time with Him, praying in the dark, praying into the foundations of the church and reality, to the things that are the bedrock, the substrate, that the foundation of Christ is set in, that then the church is built up upon. It was very physically and spiritually prophetic. It all started on 11:07, 2017 at 10:33 p.m. in the night. So that I have this encounter with God, pop awake, and I'm having this intense encounter in the physical at 11:07 p.m. on the night that I arrive in Redding after a 3.5-year waiting period when God said, this is when you will go to Bethel. Absolutely mind-blowing. Now in that place, the encounter I was having was my body was contracting from head to toe. I was being squeezed so hard that blood vessels were popping out in my face. I woke up the next morning and my ribs hurt. And as I was having the encounter, I asked the Father, I said, Father, what is going on? Like, am I having a medical event or are you doing something? He said, yes. You are being birthed, you're breaking through and you're being birthed, and simultaneously you are giving birth immediately. Fish eye, like dolly zoom moment. God takes me back to my original video that I'd made on Friday, February 14th, 2020, that I played on my parents' wedding anniversary on Thursday, August 17th, 2023. And one of the declarations I made in that video is like, that there is a seed inside of you, that it's planted in you, that you're aware that it is now growing. I declared that on August 17th, and then on August 18th, I have this dream where have this word inside of me that I can't get out. It's building so much pressure, and then I wake up having this encounter. God says, you're being birthed and you are giving birth. Oh my goodness, friends, so incredible. As I emerged then through the night, I was aware that I had to get up and to post my video at 5:25 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I woke up at 5 o'clock exactly, got up, got my phone, and then went out on the deck of Mark and Katie in the back of their house. And it's looking to the east. So awesome. And their house is located at 333 Pearl. 333 Pearl of Great Price. I don't know. Could be prophetic. I might be missing that, but I think there might be something there. So I'm sitting on their deck, just waiting for 5:25 a.m. PST. I hit the go live button, and then God says, I want you to pray in the dawn. It was 6:25 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, which was sunrise in Bozeman, Montana. And God said, I want you to stay here on the deck, and I want you to pray in the dawn. As I started praying in the dawn, I'm having all kinds of fun experiences with God. An owl starts hooting in the night, which is incredibly powerful because the owl is tied to my very last video, which I'm not going to tell you about. You're going to have to wait 3.5 years to find out what that is all about, but incredibly meaningful. An owl starts hooting in the night. I'm like, Dad, you're so silly. Thank you for your kind affirmations of love in my life. As we're progressing forward then, God flashes me back to the fact that I had been in Redding, California, 26 years and 16 days previous to this time when I was posting my video. I had come to Redding, California, the denomination that I was a part of at that time, as an international Bible quizzer. That we were going over the book of Matthew together. And I had placed in the top 5, and so then earned a spot to the International Bible Quizzing Finals. So I was at Simpson College, and as a part of a tradition with International Bible Quizzing, you stay up the entire night. And there was a young lady, Rebecca, who was such a beautiful young lady, and a friend of my wife, Charlotte, from Ohio. I had met there. I was so incredibly young, immature, and insecure, so hurt, wounded, blinded at that point in my life. I thought Rebecca was just an incredibly nice girl, and we were having wonderful conversations. But as it turns out, Rebecca was very attracted to me, and I just couldn't see it. We were sitting together in this gazebo by this big duck pond, and we watched the sunrise come up together. We were sitting together chatting about our families, our life experiences, our weekend of Bible quizzing at Quizzing Internationals, and we were watching the sun rise 26 years previous to me sitting on a deck watching the sun rise again. It was so beautiful. I hadn't thought of that for 26 years, but the Holy Spirit brought all of that back to my remembrance as I was sitting on the deck of a house at 333 Pearl of Great Price in Redding, California. And God started bringing to my heart and mind everything that He had transformed in my heart up to that point. That rather than sitting with a beautiful young lady who loves the Lord, is such an incredible woman of God, but sitting with her in a time period when I didn't know that she liked me or that I should like her, that was totally oblivious to the person that was sitting right next to me and their feelings for me, but that now I was sitting in a time and a space where my wife was there with me, who I know in the Lord and who I know loves me with all of her heart and is faithful to me, and that I was sitting there with intentionality, waiting for the sun to rise and the dawn, and that I was there on assignment from God, praying in the dawn, not just sitting there oblivious, just looking around and not noticing what God was doing in the earth. While all of this is happening, God asks me the question, Elijah, where is the sun rising from, son? I said, from the east, Father, approximately right there. It's kind of a ridiculous question. There it is. As soon as I said that, he flashed me back then to my first video that I posted back in 2020 of All for My Father, where my dad asked me about carrots, and I condescendingly said, Dad, they're long, they're crunchy, they're orange. Like, what kind of a dumb question is that? And then my physical father holds up a carrot seed and says, Elijah, how did those carrots grow from this little bitty tiny seed? The father mashed those two up together. He said, do you see how you just answered that question, son? It's all for your father. Son, where is the sun rising from? You should take a closer look. Family, I got out my phone, which has an app on it that helps to do orienteering. You can find which way is north. You can draw a line to visible landmarks and be able to then find your way on a physical map. So I got my phone on the table on the outside, got it pointed true north, and then watched where the sun popped up just on the horizon, pointed the line towards it and started zooming out, but it wouldn't let me zoom past Nevada and the bottom part of Idaho. So I got everything all lined up, took a screenshot and said, I'm just gonna pursue that later. I get home, had somewhat forgot about it. And as I was processing our trip together, the father said, you really should go back and see where the sun was rising from. I think I think you might find it encouraging. I zoomed out on Google Maps to include Redding and a large portion of the United States then to the east. I took my screenshot and oriented it so that the boundary lines of California merged up perfectly so that there was Redding and the boundary lines that were included on my screenshot on the corner of Northern California. Then I had a line that was across there. And in Photoshop, I clicked on Redding, pulled out a line along that line pulled out from Redding. And don't you know, the sun was rising exactly over Bozeman, Montana. Family, my heart was so incredibly overwhelmed with the goodness and the kindness, the precision and the love of my Father to orchestrate things in my life, to merge me into the exact place with the exact people at the exact time that I was to be there, and that He was ordering all of the movements of creation to affirm to me, son, you are hearing my voice. You're walking by the Spirit in my steps of faith to be where I tell you to be at the time I tell you to be there with the people you're supposed to minister to. Family, if I had gone there a week earlier or a week later, the sun would not have been rising over that exact same spot. But as I listened to God from Friday, February 14th, 2020, God said, you are not going to Redding until I tell you to. And when I tell you, you will go. And I said, Father, that sounds horrible. Thumbs down on your plans. That stinks. My cousin Josiah called me 2 weeks after and said, hey, me and some friends are going to Redding. You want to come with us? I said, no, but have a fun time. I'm going later. Family, but that in the fullness of time, as I continued to walk in faithfulness and surrender before God, when I merged into Redding, California on the day that He appointed for me to be there, and I posted my video on Sunday, August 20th, 2023 at 5:25 a.m. PST, He had positioned me at 333 Pearl in exact alignment with my hometown that He had brought me from, such that the sun rose on a new era in my life directly over my city to the place where I was sitting. Family, wherever you're at in your life right now, in 2023, I impart grace to you to declare that my Father can be trusted, that He knows your needs before you ask Him and is working on your behalf for your good and the blessing of everyone around you through the grace that He has imparted to you to then be released through you. With whatever you're in your family, in your business, in your church community, my declaration to you is that as you fall back into the surrender of a powerful faith, to listen to what the Father is saying and say it, to watch what the Father is doing and doing it with faithfulness, that He will accomplish every good work that He started in you and is merging you through to carry it on to His completion for His glory, honor, and namesake, and for the blessing of all mankind. I don't know how I'm getting off these videos in this new era, but I'm going to use the same salutation as I used in Extraordinary Life with Elijah, because I don't know what else to say. Been saying it for 3.5 years. If you subscribe to what we are doing, then hit the subscribe button. Hit it and then get it. Hit the bell as well so you get notified with the new content. And if you love this video, you didn't just like it, hit the thumbs down button. Pray blessings on our lives together. I love you guys lots, and I will see you in the next video.